Hey, what's going on to all my movie fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early movie review, and today we're discussing the new rom-com coming exclusively to Prime Video on February 11th by the name of I Want You Back, which is a film I got the chance to check out early, courtesy of the fine folks over at Amazon. And today, I'm gonna let you all know what I thought about this rom-com and if you should give it a watch, all in this spoiler-free review. Before we break it all down, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, we are literally knocking on the door to 20,000 subscribers, which is incredible. So if you haven't already, come and join this community and make sure you're subscribed and you're hitting that notification bell. As you can see on the screen now, if you enjoyed this movie review, well, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and also share. But more importantly, once you've seen the film, what'd you think about it? Let's talk about your pros, your cons, favorite moments, favorite characters. Did you laugh? Did you cry? Did you have a good time? Or were you let down by this film? Let's talk about it all in the comments below. So hey, it's that time of the year where we got Valentine's Day coming up. And now it's so funny. I was just talking about this on a live stream last week. We don't get rom-coms like we used to back in the day. Like, I'm from the 90s. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, Matthew McConaughey, Julia Roberts. I mean, you name it. There was just rom-coms upon rom-coms in the 90s and the 2000s. But in the last like 5-7 years, we don't get them that much. And when we do get them, they go exclusively to streaming. So is this a good rom-com? Is this a hidden gem? Is it worth watching? Well, let's talk about rom-coms in general. First and foremost, I'm a fan of the genre, even the cheesy ones. And I know it. I can call a spade a spade. Rom-coms to me, and let's be fair, every genre has like the tropes that they're like traditionally known for, and rom-coms to me have very stereotypical scripts, very predictable, but neither here nor there. My thing about rom-coms is, was I entertained? Did I enjoy the characters? Let's talk about this film. Starting off with the characters, we have Charlie Day and Jenny Slate. I'm big fans of both of these actors. Starting off with Charlie Day, I'm a day one, A1 Charlie Day fan since season 1, episode 1 of Sunny in Philadelphia, and just watching him in films always put a smile on my face. Even if the films aren't that great, I've always seemed to like Charlie Day in movies. He plays a character named Peter who comes across this young lady played by Jenny Slate who goes by the name of Emma, and again, very stereotypical story without giving too much away. They are both kind of in their 30s. They are both in long-term relationships, and they seem to be like, oh, our relationships are going good. This is my person I want to be with forever. But unfortunately, their counterparts, their partners, we have Gina Rodriguez and Scott Eastman, they're kind of done with their significant others, so they break up with them. So normally in these type of rom-coms, you would expect Jenny Slate and Charlie Day to come together, date each other to make their exes jealous, but not in this film. This film kind of puts a little bit of a spin on it. They are going to infiltrate their new relationships to break them up, where they can come back to their exes. So that's kind of the plot there. And going back to what I liked about the film, I thought the chemistry between Charlie Day and Jenny Slate was really great to me. They were so funny. Again, Ami's very subjective, but for the most part, I like comedy. When speaking of the rom-com, I like subtle comedy. Now, I do every now and then like the over-the-top type of comedies, but this isn't an over-the-top type of comedy. This is a very situational type of comedy. This is a very kind of like subtle comedy where the characters say funny things and then we go on to the next scene, which some comedies, they just kind of linger and sit within that one scene. They just kind of like drain the life out of jokes. This film to me didn't have those type of jokes, because I think, and that just speaks to the testament of Charlie Day's timing and Jenny Slate's timing. They were both great when it came to the comedy. Their stories were very kind of relatable, because I'm someone that's been, in my 30s right now, just celebrating a birthday recently. And I think we can all, even if you're not 30, if you're over 30, younger than 30, we have been in those situations where we are, have a significant other. Things seem to be good in our eyes, but we don't always see our flaws, right? And that's what's so relatable about Charlie Day and Jenny Slate. We have Jenny Slate, who's just kind of like living life as it comes. She's been working at this job that really doesn't have that much growth within the position, where Charlie Day is kind of the complete opposite. He's doing a pretty big job and he seems to be pretty stable, but he seems to be kind of stuck within his position. So we can all kind of relate to those characters, which makes this film so relatable and so fun. But again, going back to the comedy and the chemistry, they were the best aspects in the film. And even looking at the supporting cast members, which I thought that they were fine. I'm a fan of Gina Rodriguez and Scott Eastman. They were fine in their roles. But again, I think the thing that I walked away with this film with saying was, Jenny Slate, Charlie Day, I love them. They were great. Their chemistry was off the chains. And even individually speaking, they had some really great moments. So when it comes to our two leads, I enjoyed their journey. I enjoyed their growth. I enjoyed the kind of the twist on the rom-com with breaking up their couples. And there are things that we've seen before that kind of happens towards the end, which I'll talk about in my criticisms. But at the end of the day, Charlie Day as Peter and Jenny Slate as Emma, I really enjoyed them. And then I talked about how I enjoyed the comedy of the film as well. But kind of going into a little bit of my criticisms, I will say again, and I knew this going into it, there are very traditional, stereotypical, predictable things that happen in this film. So that kind of comes with the territory. But there were some plots that I thought were kind of unnecessary. I think rom-coms, in my opinion, should be no longer than an hour and a half. And this film is almost 2 hours. And there are two plots that I can think of. One involving Jenny Slate. Her thing is to break up Gina Rodriguez and her new boyfriend, who happens to be a theater coach in a middle school. There's this kind of middle school plot, and we actually see like a moment where they're auditioning and practicing for the play that I thought went way too long. But also, there's this weird relationship that Jenny Slate has with a middle schooler, which I thought was completely kind of unnecessary. It had some funny moments between the two, but I'm like, why did we need that in the film? That could have sliced off like 10 to 15 minutes just from that plot alone, which also brings me to, again, comedy is very subjective. This film has a weird amount of inappropriate, like underage jokes, which again, some of them were funny, but I'm just like, why do we keep bringing up underage kid jokes? Again, I don't know. Again, you all might not notice it, but I didn't get uncomfortable. I was just thinking to myself, why do we keep bringing up underage jokes? Like, what's the underlying tone that we're getting at here? And again, it's very easy to criticize the tropes and kind of knowing where the film's gonna go. And I thought the film, as we get into the second act and things start to play more in the traditional sense of like, oh, maybe you're the one that I should be with, the ending was just kind of lackadaisical to me. Again, I was so kind of impressed and kind of surprised by how invested I was into the story, even minus some of those gripes I mentioned. But I'm just like, come on, we could have did a little bit differently. The ending does tie back to something that's mentioned earlier in the film, but I just thought that the ending was just kind of like, I would have wished that they kind of ended it in a different manner. But honestly, those are really my only criticisms. So before I give you all my overall thoughts and let you know if I think it's worth watching on Amazon Video on February 11th, if you stuck around to the point of the video, make sure you're liking it, sharing it, commenting in the comment section, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Overall, I Want You Back, no doubt, plays it safe in some aspects in when it comes to rom-com comedies, but I enjoyed the film. Charlie Day and Jenny Slate really carried the narrative to me. I laughed with the characters. I enjoyed the characters. I related to the characters. Yes, some of the supporting characters kind of felt a little dull and kind of stereotypical, and the ending to me was just kind of lackadaisical, and there are certain plots that I thought could have been cut out, and I think it's way too long for a rom-com. But hey, it's something I recommend you all give a watch, especially with Valentine's Day. If you're with someone, if you're not, give this film a watch, and I'm going to give I Want You Back a 3 out of 5. It's not a film where I say, stop what you're doing, go watch this on February 11th, but if you have the time, if you want to have a good time, if you want to have a good smile, if you want to relate to some characters, give this film a watch, and when you do, let me know your pros, your cons, favorite moments. Do you agree with my positives? Do you disagree with my negatives? Let's talk about it all in the comments. Thank you all for watching this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're staying safe. Again, just a friendly reminder to, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, because we are so close to 20,000 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you all. Thank you again for watching the review. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to my channel. Check out my other content. We'll catch you all on the next video.